Go ahead, Joss. I was just going to finish the introduction here. We changed the plans. We're running short on time, so Ambassador Douma is going to give a speech. I just wanted to say it's very important. He chairs the International Religious Freedom or Belief Alliance. And I've asked him to talk about global coordination between the global movement, which is you all, civil society, and his global network of governments that he's now running. So you already welcomed him. Let's welcome him again, Ambassador Douma.
But now he disappears. And we were supposed to have a fireside chat. The problem is there's no fireside here, and it's extremely cold, so we might have a fire. But okay, I had nothing prepared to hold a speech. I would answer questions, but I know the questions, luckily. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a true pleasure to be here. 2 years ago, as the new and first special envoy of the Netherlands for religion and belief, so not only freedom of, but for religion and belief, I was launched almost physically by my minister. He brought me into the State Department, and during the ministerial, he said, and we have a new envoy, and the first one, and he's sitting right behind me. Then he left, because there was a meeting with Trump, and I had to do it all myself. And since then, things went fast. I started my I truly started my position in September, and already in February 2020, I was here again to attend the launching of the International Religious Freedom and Belief Alliance. And that was quite an experience. There were about 20 participants, and it was a small grouping. And we noticed that we did not represent all the religions and all the countries of the world. You can imagine 20 countries, but most of them from Europe and North America, so mainly Christian. That is an issue. We want to represent all the religions, especially the major world religions. Secondly, we want to be representative. We had an issue, you know the political situation by then, so it was difficult for many of European countries to join the International Religious Freedom and Belief Alliance, and so I now join the round table.
Thank you.
You fool! I was already answering the questions the public didn't know, but I knew.
Sorry about that. We're going on the fly here, so it's very good. We're still having fun, but you go ahead and finish what your thought. I interrupted you mid.
How many hours do I have to ruin your program?
Well, just finish your thought, and then because then I'll
Okay,
just get to that one question.
So there it all started. We had not all the religions represented, and we only had a limited number of countries. And what we wanted also was the international organizations represented. The UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Religion and Belief, he immediately joined. And he is supporting us very much. So that means that we already are a multilateral organization. Not in that official sense, but we try to be multilateral for all the countries concerned. But what we still want is to include all the religions. We're working on that. But one condition is very important. And that is, and it has been discussed in a panel before by Kakyaya from Indonesia, apostasy. The freedom to choose, because it is about the individual. And it's the individual right to choose your religion, to have your religion, and also to leave your religion. And he did not say it explicitly in his address, but later on we discussed it. This is the freedom Indonesia wants to have. So hopefully we slowly but steadily can also even include Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world, into our endeavors. And that would be wonderful, because it should be a world organization and not just an international organization. I have to add two small things, because this is the fight for the freedom. But we also need to understand the religions. That was very clear through these 2 days. That we as diplomats especially, but also you as civic society, that you need to understand what makes a heart beat in Nigeria, in Russia, and everywhere. So when you're active there, you need to understand what is the religious driver. What do these people believe? Most of you are Christian. What does a Muslim truly believe? Not the outside, but what does he truly believe? What makes the difference between a Shiite, a Sunni, and an Ahmadi? That is important when you're active in, for instance, Pakistan. So we as diplomats, we also have a group the transatlantic policy network on religion and belief. And then we want to understand what are the differences, what makes people tick. And then, to conclude, there is another group, and that is also from 2015, like the TPNRD, or TIPNERD, as the Americans say, and that is the International Contact Group on FORB. And in the International Contact Group, under American and Canadian chairmanship, we try to improve international legislation and treaties, so international accords, the dealing on freedom of religion and belief. So very active in coordinating our positions in the Human Rights Council and in the UN General Assembly. So I see some people nodding here. Yes, that's what we do. We have attention for individual religions because of the individuals. Because it's their religion, we care about the individual's religion. Also in the multilateral framework. That is your first question.
Good, very good. Thank you, Ambassador Douma. So I wanted to get into, we have about 4.5 minutes left. Part of what we've been talking about this morning is increasing cooperative engagement across faith communities and belief communities, but also increasing engagement between faith communities and belief communities and governments. The other piece we wanted to talk about is global coordination, because I think we've been working towards trying to increase coordination within a global network of religious freedom roundtables, which we've been talking about. But then we'd like to discuss with you, how can we increase coordination across global networks so that we've got a whole global network of religious freedom roundtables? How can we increase communication and coordination with IRF-B Alliance and other networks of governments like the International Contact Group?
And I like that. In the Netherlands, by the way, we just had a new roundtable. You might not know it because things grow up from bottom, from grassroots.
As they should.
And that is for us elementary. It is essential that we know grassroots level. It is not, for me at least, and for many of the leaders in the IRF-BA and my colleagues, it is not that important to meet religious leaders and to embrace and to have dialogue and blah, blah. No, it is to know the plight and the opinion of the individual faith actors. What motivates these people? So you are faith actors. You act from your faith. That might even be a non-confessional faith, your belief, but you act from your conscience. And that is what it's all about. So the roundtable is a very good initiative, but we, at the national level, because we represent states, at the national level, we want to meet national groupings, faith-based organizations and religious organizations, and we want to communicate with them and also understand them. And I should admit, in a more and more secular society, and with more and more number-wise secular civil servants, it is very difficult to also in your own country understand what makes people tick when they are religious. So the roundtable is important. Religious organizations are important, and we need to have dialogue with those organizations. And then, I'm a European, we need subsidiarity. Yeah. So what you can do locally, you do locally. Yeah. What you do nationally, what you can do nationally, you do nationally. And what you can only do internationally, you do internationally. So meeting worldwide is not that essential. It is very elementary to meet locally, and to have all the information go up through the civil servants or to the civil servants and through the civil servants to the politicians and keep them informed and keep them active on this elementary human right.
I agree with that. We're going to be urging people at the end of this segment to establish local religious freedom roundtables, national religious freedom roundtables. We're going to have regional partners to help us even do regional summits and roundtables. But going back to IRF-B Alliance, I know there's an informal council of experts that I'm part of, and that's a way for civil society to speak into and inform the work of the Alliance. But if last comment here, we have about a minute left, if the last comment is, how can we more effectively engage IRF-B Alliance? Like as a global network of roundtables, how can we more effectively engage and contribute to what you need and want so that we can get a better coordination occurring?
Well, be realistic. And you might know that Open Doors and Aid to Church in Need are both funded by Dutch people. So we know how to deal with that, with the question. But what we need as Dutch, but also as IRFBA, is sound information. So I'm always in communication with this type of organization. Have the sound information to us. Don't exaggerate. Don't be that inclusive. You should be inclusive, but don't include all the casualties as persecuted people for their faith. No. Yesterday evening, it was very interesting in a dinner organized for Nigeria, that we had different statements. So we receive different and sometimes conflicting information. We have to choose. That's one. Yeah? Be sound in the information and let us choose. Convince us. Then, it's always a policy mix. Human rights is essential. It was said yesterday by Samantha Powers, and it is part and parcel of most of the policies of the European members. But there are more interests. And it's up to the politicians to weigh the results of that information and to make choices. And you all know this always interesting discussion between USERV and State Department. USERV reports, calls Nigeria, for instance, for a long time a country of particular concern, and only very late State Department decides. It's after evaluating, taking a decision, and that is a political decision. India, there is an outcry about India. USERV calls India a country of particular concern, but the State Department doesn't. It's politics. It's simple international politics. It's no-brainer. You need to respect the politicians, but you also need to put pressure on politicians. Right. So that's what you do locally, and that's what we do internationally if necessary.
Great. Thank you so much. We're out of time. Please join me again in thanking Ambassador Douma.
Thank you.